All right, with the hot topic right now on being interest rates and what's going on with the Fed, what are they doing with inflation? What's going on with the economy? Really wanted to use this as an opportunity to educate the masses with none other than one of my resident experts, Danny Delgado, with the Delgado team. So, welcome, Danny. How are we doing today?
Hey, I'm great. It's good to be here. Good to see you again.
Danny was just telling me how he walked 18 yesterday. He's a little sore, but your best round of your
Yeah.
life, right?
Yeah. No, because it was in the low 50s and the body doesn't work real well when it's cold. Either does the golf ball for some reason. I don't know. I think it's
Yeah, it
weather
doesn't fly
related.
near as far, but I think it's definitely due to the weather. But yeah, fall golf in the state of Illinois, kind of like the real estate market, and I'm sure things you're seeing at your firm with things just cooling off a little bit, and everyone kind of in a state of angst and wanting to hit pause. But Danny, before we dive into
Yeah.
some really heavy hitting questions, I think will be valuable for our listeners and watchers. Tell us a little bit about what you've built at Guaranteed Rate. You have this phrase, the Delgado difference. Tell us
Yeah.
just a little bit about what that is and what it means to your clients and your partners.
Yeah. Well, I've been in the mortgage business for 30 years, and I think the Delgado difference really came in when I really came up with it when I went through my divorce many years ago. Everyone gets kind of in that funk with, and maybe even a bit of depression when it comes to something big in your life like a divorce. And so what I did was, my business went down due to it, and I said I got to snap out of this. So I'm reinventing myself, the mortgage process for consumers, and that really sparked the whole Delgado difference. I want the customer to feel like this is a process I've never experienced before. It's the most painless process with the biggest purchase they've ever done. So I just wanted to be, I wanted to show them that they're never going to wake up at 11 o'clock at night not knowing what's going on with their loan. So we over communicate. We're super aggressive with interest rates. Um, if interest rates come down over the course of the process, we get them a lower interest rate. It's truly the white glove service for a buyer, which I think a lot of mortgage professionals seem to kind of get away from. It's just one loan, they're a number, and the majority of my business is past client referral. So that's really due to the Delgado difference, in my opinion. So,
Yeah, that's awesome. And I actually saw a video the other day that talking about get in touch with your lender, know who that person is well before you start your buying, feel like you're truly starting your buying journey, going to see houses, because there's a relationship you're building with your clients and the members of your team. Because it's really not just you. You have an awesome team behind you that does great work for clients as well. If you want to speak to some of the other members of the team and the clients they serve too.
yeah. So I have two loan officers that one with 35 years of experience and another at six, Kyle and John. And the whole purpose to have, to grow our team is to make sure that everyone gets serviced immediately. When somebody emails us or texts us or leaves a voicemail saying, "Hey, I got your name from Chris Wallace," that someone's there, just Johnny on the spot. I don't want any time to lapse where a customer or someone's not getting that call, any response back. So that's why I have a team, to continue with that quick Delgado difference,
Yeah.
quick service. Yeah.
Yeah, and I can speak to that from my perspective as a realtor with clients that I know have worked closely with you, where we're in a business and in a world where there are some things sometimes out of our control. The prices of homes, what the rates are. You don't make
Yeah.
the rates. Some people do that, especially are more on like maybe first time home buying, don't understand even how interest rates work. So we'll dive into what's going on now, and that'll kind of
Yeah.
tie some of that information in for them as well.
Yeah.
But even when you feel like the sky's falling or the walls are caving in, I've found that what your team can do and how you guys are able to deliver at all hours of the day. You post all the time, you're working weekends, call us anytime. And that's when people are around able to see houses. And especially over the last 2 years when a house hit the market and was under contract 6 hours later. And sometimes it's still happening. I was
Yeah,
actually looking at an investment property for my family, and it's already under contract, and we had a showing scheduled for tomorrow.
right.
So things are still kind of crazy depending on where you're at. And I know you're based in Naperville, DuPage County. I'm here in Kane County, so we service different markets in the same
Yeah,
markets all at the same time, which is great. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, especially during that crazy time in 20 and 21. Um, yeah, I mean, we pride ourselves that we work your kind of hours, real estate hours, not banking hours.
yeah,
And I mean, you try to get a hold of a loan officer at one of those big banks on a Saturday night at 8 o'clock. It's not happening, you know?
right.
And
Sometimes that
really,
Thursday at 3 o'clock, it's not happening because they're
right.
on
Yeah,
vacation.
exactly.
There's no
Yeah,
accountability, or things are too big. So
right. I mean, you're
uh,
putting offers in at 9 o'clock at night on a Sunday.
yeah,
And when you have to play with numbers, you need a loan officer that's going to be there, you know?
yeah. Little quick cameo from our director of operations, Siri Peterson, real quick. Doing some work in our office next door. So, speaking of your office, I've been there. It's beautiful. People can't see the other side, which is this really cool cocktail lounge vibe setup you have. But the
Yeah.
shelving behind you, I don't know who deserves the credit for that. I mean, that is gorgeous. Straight crate and barrel or pottery barn. I know you're fancy, but
Yep.
that's really well
Crate and
done.
barrel. Yep.
Yeah, you have a beautiful office there in downtown Naperville. So, well, let's get into it. I know people
Yeah.
are here for the topics and what we're talking about. Again, this is heavy hitting stuff. You are the experts. That's why I want to focus on you. But
Mhm.
the big one, why are the feds raising rates so often and drastically? What exactly are they trying to do? And how is that impacting what we're trying to do, which is help people buy and sell homes?
Yeah. So that's not a complicated question to answer, but there's a lot of moving parts with it. Okay. Obviously, what you hear the standard answer is, to slow down inflation. Like, what does that even mean? I mean, a lot of people think people are spending money. That's great for the economy. How is that a negative thing, right? Well, the problem is that the cost of goods, whether it's milk, equipment to build your shed, whatever it may be, cost of goods are going up through the roof. But individuals' income is not keeping up with that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not sustainable. You know, imagine if the world becomes so expensive and we don't catch that in time, what that's going to do to overall spending. I mean,
Right.
it's just you know, there's a balance there, and it's like this right now. So, in order to, in that's why they're raising interest rates as fast as they are, is because these costs of goods are really not moving downwards yet, and that's because everyone's spending money. You know,
Right.
so that's really the root cause of them raising interest rates as often as they are, is to almost make things a little bit less affordable so people stop spending so much money so that the cost of goods come back down.
So the key learning here is just don't buy anything and the rates will be 3% again, right? I mean, is it
Yeah,
that simple?
yeah. I wish it was that simple, but in a way, okay, in a way, that's somewhat true because we're kind of avoiding the word recession. We want, the government wants to ease into that definition. Well, we're into when it becomes official that we're in a recession, yes, mortgage interest rates are going to come down. They have to.
Right.
You know, money is going to be pouring out of the stock market and going somewhere, which usually goes into bonds.
Mm-hmm.
So, which drives interest rates down. So, yeah, I mean, it's in a way, if you think about it, these interest rates are artificially going up to keep things down. So, if you think about it, are they artificially high? Yeah, they really are. And a lot of it has to do with interest rates have gone up so much, so quick, that whether it's Wall Street or institutions, they're just not buying mortgage-backed securities. And not to get too geeky on it, but
Get geeky.
if there,
Get geeky with
well,
it.
if there's if there's no buyers for mortgage-backed securities, then interest rates are going to continue to go up. And um, the big issue is that there's no buyers because they feel that interest rates are going to come down sooner than later. And nobody wants to put money into an investment that's going to be paid off like that. So that's just not how the world of economics go when it comes to mortgages. They
Right.
buy them in pools and, well, anyway, so they just don't want that quick turn time, meaning they're buying mortgages at 7%, and in 6 months from now, all that's going to be paid off because interest rates come down, and then here comes refinances.
Right.
So that's they are artificially higher than they should be right now based on what's going on in the economy.
Yeah. And that kind of ties into our next point of like, is this actually working? Are you seeing that we're heading into the right direction, I guess, specific to interest rates and housing affordability? Because I can speak from the
Yeah,
real estate side, the inventory has not picked up
yeah.
at the rate where a buyer can go out with these new rates and say, okay, affordability for me has gone down, but so have the home prices. And I can go see 10 houses this Saturday, pick which one I want to lowball, and walk away feeling like I got a deal because the rates are higher. It's actually been feeling, and the data suggests that
Mm-hmm.
still a great time to be a home seller, because there's just not a lot of competition out there, and a lot of it because people are sitting on 3.5 or less percent interest rate over the last 2 years because they smartly refinanced. And unless they have another home in Florida or Arizona, or they want to move closer to their kids who are starting families, or
Mm-hmm.
something's happened where they've gone through a life change where they need to sell, everyone's kind of staying put. But from your perspective, is it working? Are we heading in the right direction?
Well, yes, it's working, but not nearly as fast as the government thought it was going to be.
Right.
So um, the problem is just Americans are spending too much money. I mean, locally, everyone knows of Oak Brook Mall being, let's just say, on the higher end. Would you say Oak Brook Mall's on the higher end of
Sure.
malls? Uh, designer stores, things like that.
Yeah, I don't
I
take
went
my wife
last,
there ever for that reason. So
yeah, I went there last weekend, and I'm telling you, it might as well have been December 20th. I mean,
crazy.
they were beyond packed. You know how there's a circular drive around every mall? I had to park on
Yeah.
the other side of it. That's how busy it was. And it's like, do pe- are this isn't people are still spending this. This is, you know, it's pretty insane. And with that is going to bring more more raising of the interest rates because it's just not working fast enough.
Right.
So they're going to continue to do it until things slow down, and that's when mortgage interest rates will come down, when it actually starts working.
It's crazy. People are out buying things. I mean, I feel like Black Friday starts earlier and earlier, but it's not even November 1st, and you're telling me
Right.
things are insane.
Yeah.
Even when all the news outlets are saying wait to buy stuff for the holidays because prices will come down because there's stuff that's been sitting on the shelves that they can't get
Yep.
rid of over the last couple of years,
Right.
or a lot of supply is finally coming in. So
It's
it's
just
interesting.
real.
People just the masses aren't seeming to understand, and of course, not everyone's thinking, oh well, I want to bring interest rates down, so I'm not going to go buy a gallon of milk today. But
Right.
the masses impact that, and the home buying industry is not just people like you and I. It's the banks and the loan side of things, of course,
Yes.
but you have your inspectors and your home builders who are,
Yep.
every single month they're less and less excited, and the data supports that they're excitement over what's going on in the economy is not good for their business. So that means we're doing less home building, which means less affordability. So it feels like we're on this hamster wheel of when will it end? So what do you feel like is the future? Where are we going? What's your prediction or your bold take on next
Well, just to take a little step back, I mean, I don't think that someone should not purchase a home right now because interest rates are higher. I mean, all of those rates were in 20 and 21. I mean, they were at all-time lows. I mean, that can't be your benchmark. I mean, when I got in the business, rates were at 8.5%, and they just came off of 10.5. literally 5 months prior. So if you need to move, you need to move. If your family's too big for your current residence, you need a bigger home. If you are retired or you're empty nesters and you need to downsize, you need to downsize. I mean, interest rates will come back down and you can refinance at any point. At least in the state of Illinois, there's no prepayment penalty. So it doesn't matter if you're 3 months after closing and rates come screaming down, refinance. Don't, it's like playing the market. I'm going to buy Apple at 165 and then it comes, it goes to, it goes up or down, you can't predict it. Same thing with interest rates. If you need to buy a house, go buy a house, family first, So, I mean, the interest rates are going to come back down. So I would not let that be the stopping point.
Right.
Yeah. So as far as interest rates go, I would say that our industry, along with Wall Street, economists are definitely thinking that interest rates are going to come down maybe fourth quarter of next year or early in 2024. No one has that crystal ball, but there's a reason why these interest rates are, artificially high. And if the market geniuses behind all this is saying that there's no buyers because they're going to be paid off early, that just means interest rates are coming down, and everyone knows it. So, I mean, in history, recession brings lower interest rates. So, by all definition, we're in a recession, but we're not labeling it just quite yet. I think the
Yeah, and
Fed just
we won't
wanted
even
to
go
get
down.
into it. What's that?
Yeah, and we won't even go down the political reasoning probably behind some of that as well, given the timing with the upcoming election, things
No,
like that.
no, not
A
at
lot of
all.
implications on why things aren't labeled the way they should be all the
Yeah,
time. So that's a whole nother 20-minute session with
not for me.
neither of us, right?
Yeah,
So
right.
I think this is all really interesting, and we get these questions. You're getting those questions. Is now the right time to buy or sell? Again, in any snapshot in time, the market, whether it be DuPage County, Kane County, overall is still saying this is a great time to sell. When you look
Mm-hmm.
at the all the stats around price per square foot or market time, sure, homes are going on, staying on the market longer nationally. It's double from where it was. Redfin just reported. So, there's definitely some changes, but all in all, the equity that's in homes is still at an all-time high. And on the flip side, from a buy standpoint, it's really your specific situation. And that's why, like I suggested earlier, the ability to get on and have a conversation with someone like yourself
Yeah.
early in the process. And then if you need to revisit in 6 months because you feel like what you're hearing doesn't make sense for you now, but when it's time to make that change, you've already kind of got your ducks in a row and that relationship and rapport is built. Because when it's time to hit it, write the offer or get to the closing
Mm-hmm.
table once the offer is accepted, it's nice to have a little bit more sense of comfort. And now is probably a good time to connect with folks like you. You don't, things, a lot of people are hitting pause. So if there was ever a time to get to know your firm a little bit or get educated or connect with someone like myself, now is the time to do that.
Yeah,
We head
for
into
sure.
the winter months where things historically, regardless of interest rates, aren't as crazy and hot as far as home.
In early this year, I want to say I did a video in February about we can potentially see within a calendar year the real estate market across the country going from a seller's market to a buyer's market. And we're absolutely seeing that. I mean, you as a real estate agent, over the last 2 years, buyers were not getting any closing cost credits. They were paying over list price, just because demand was so high coming out of COVID. And now we're in a more of a buyer's market. Like I'm seeing buyers that may be a little bit short funds getting some assistance from the seller, pitching in a few $1,000s towards their closing costs. So would you say we're into a full buyer's market right now or just getting started, or what do you think about that?
It's a great question. I wouldn't call what we're in now a buyer's market.
Right.
It's a more favorable market it's still a seller's market, and the month supply of inventory suggesting that it's still a seller's market. The data says it is, but it is, to your point. You see a house that's listed for $400,000. That's really just the market price, as opposed to what they're asking for even. So when that house closes at 370 and 6 months ago it would have closed at 430, that's a $60,000, obviously using broad numbers, that's a $60,000 delta there. And maybe in addition to that, you're getting $5,000 at the closing table, or you're getting that leaky, water heater fixed or even replaced. And you're walking into a house where you don't have projects or feel like you're really tight on funds because you overspent, and now you can't replace the counters in your kitchen for 5 years, and you kind of had this buyer's remorse. So there's such a trickle down effect of what the market was, to where I walked through 3 homes yesterday in locally here in St. Charles, and we were talking about things that by getting a lower price from what they're listed at, you could take some of that money, or messing around with what you want to put down. You could actually do an update to that outdated bathroom or to the carpet, which may cost $6,000 to replace, as opposed to what's it going to take and how much over ask, and then we've got nothing, and we're just sitting in this house that doesn't feel like ours yet. So
it feels like more of a normal, even market, because there are some incredibly updated hot homes that are getting multiple offers still. But there are homes that are on the market for a few weeks right now, and which we haven't seen that in a while. And now it just seems more, I don't know, if a buyer needs a credit, it's easier to negotiate right now. Then you'll see houses that get multiple offers. So I think it's just more normal, like more like 2019,
Right. Oddly enough, pre-COVID, when things were more normal, right? So we're getting back to normal, and of course we have this winter season, flu season, RSVs running around with kids. Like it's got all that same angst thanks to COVID and still those after effects. But the market's kind of saying, hey, 18-year average, or what, close, is 7.4% or so on interest rates. So here we are right around that ballpark number. So Danny, what's kind of your call to action for your clients or people that are on the fence? I'm going to throw up your email here so people can reach out to you, and maybe just drop a line your way. But what do you suggest they do in terms of action if they're on the fence on maybe dipping into this market?
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't care if you're 2 months or 8 months away from possibly buying. I don't think it's ever too early of a time to get pre-approved, or at least analyze credit, see what it looks like. If there's any limiters that may prevent you from buying in that time frame, we can tackle it now and have it done with. I don't think there's any, a lot of people are like, I don't want my credit score pulled. Well, unless you have all these different industries pulling your credit at the same time, your credit scores are really not going to adjust by a mortgage lender pulling your credit, so I would say if you're thinking about it at any point within the next 8 months, that puts us in the spring market. Let's do, a quick analyst, or let's analyze your credit scores, your income, your debts, this and that, and kind of go from there and see, if you're in a good spot. Wouldn't it be much easier to just say, we know that our credit scores are there, what we qualify for, so whenever we're ready to pull the trigger, and we're good to go.
It's good to put all the puzzle pieces on the table. Good to put all the puzzle pieces on the table and understand what that looks like. And again, it's always up to our clients on when they want to put the puzzle together and bring it to fruition. So well, this was great. Hopefully it's really helpful information. If those that are watching this, like and subscribe down below. If you have any questions, you have Danny's email here. All of our information through Hosel Homes, and my contact will be in the comments as well. So Danny, we appreciate the time and the expertise, and looking forward to more in these going forward. So appreciate it. And hopefully your golf game doesn't get too rusty here in the cold months.
Well, great seeing you. And hopefully I can take your money on the course before the season ends.
That's right. Yeah,
Although I think you took my money last time.
yeah, you're playing from a deficit, and I don't think you've actually paid that out. So
Yeah,
maybe you
right.
can use my rate or something instead. So
Right.
well, I appreciate it. Hope everyone got something great out of this. Danny, thanks for the time, and let's talk soon.
You're welcome. We'll see you
See you.
soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye.